What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles submitted to the channel by Calvin Dezol, who's running a triple Pikachu clone team in the Electric Cup with Togedemaru, Minun and Pawmot. Pawmot caught my attention for this cup and is incredibly deadly as a closer with both Wild Charge and Close Combat. So with that being said, let's just get straight into the question of the day. What is your favourite Pikachu clone? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so go into the first battle, lead Togedemaru into Lantern. So this is a fairly neutral matchup here. Of course, Wild Charge going to do a lot of damage here. We're going to go for it straight away, possibly won't grab a shield, and the opponent does let the Wild Charge go through. We'll then say swap into our Minun. We can tank any move here. Not going to do too much damage. Minun is fairly bulky, and the opponent's going to swap there, try to catch a charge move onto their Alolan Golem, but this is fine with us. We can go straight for the Grass Knot. That does big damage. It doesn't quite take them out, and we do go for a second Grass Knot. And by the way, we are running Discharge on the graphic. We're running Thunderbolt in this battle and a few more battles as well, just because this trainer had no TMs to get rid of it. Discharge is preferred because it is cheaper. You can spam it a bit faster. But going back to the battle commentary, we're going to shield up the Surf, go for the full Spark Farm Down, but we're barely not able to. The opponent lives with 1 HP, gets off the Surf, which is very good for them, but they've got a Shadow Alolan Graveler in the back, and this is where it's really nice having that sub fighting typing, because we take resisted damage from the Rock Throws, we go for the charge move, we then swap into Togedemaru, and we throw a Wild Charge on the CMB tie, which is perfect for us. The opponent gonna go for the charge move. They've used both their shields now. Stone Edge, I think they undercharged that, which is a good play, but not enough, as we can come back in with the Pawmot. We go for an overfarm, we make sure the opponent doesn't make a catch, onto the Lantern, close combat, takes out the Graveler. We're able to spark, farm down the Lantern, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we're going to see another Lantern in the lead, so I do apologise, you're not going to see a lot of variety in this cup, although it is nice to see a few unique Pokemon on this team. The opponent goes for Surf there. We're going to build to the back-to-back Wild Charges this time around, and they are going to be dealing a lot of damage. We actually swap there, the opponent swaps at the same time, so good swap by the opponent there, anticipating the back-to-back Wild Charges. We're now going to bait with the Discharge, and we grab that shield, so there you can see the benefit of running Discharge. We can bait a shield potentially. The opponent goes for Rock Blast. Can we make it to the Grass Knot? Yes, we can. We've seen already Grass Knot doesn't quite KO, but we grab the final shield from the opponent, and when all shields are down on the opponent's end, Pawmot is absolutely going to thrive here. We actually come back in with Togedemaru though. We go for a Wild Charge. A Wild Charge will put them into range where we can just shield once. I know we do resist everything, but we might as well shield, and then go for a full Spark Farm Down up against this Alolan Graveler. We get the farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They come in with that Alolan Golem, so seeing the exact same team once again. The opponent swaps into Lantern, but it does not matter. Close combat takes out the Lantern. A second close combat will be enough damage to very easily one-shot the Alolan Golem, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we see another Lantern in the lead. I'm sorry for this, but it's just how it is, unfortunately. This is why a lot of people aren't playing the Electric Cup. I'm interested to know that with the Ultra League, are more people going to play the Electric Cup now because they're not as keen on the Ultra League, or will it still be a cup where basically no one's playing it? But here the opponent's going to swap into Galvantula, so at least it is a slightly different team here. Unfortunately, they do outpace us to the charge move. We're going for Grass Knot. I think we might as well just go for Discharge in this battle, since we would have got that off first, but they go for a Cross Poison, so they don't debuff our attack, and we should be able to make it to a Discharge before they farm us down, so the opponent does throw their energy. Cross Poison will be taking us out, and we are probably going to come back in. No, we actually come in with the Pawmot here, and we might shield this and go for the Spark Farm Down once again, as they go for another Cross Poison. They come in with the Lantern. We're not going to throw straight away. We're going to double shield the Pawmot, and what you will see a lot in these battles is that we save the shields for the Pawmot. It is quite a glassy Pokemon, but we go for the close combat. Nearly taking out the Lantern, we swap, we get the snipe with the Togedemaru, and the opponent's got a Shadow Luxray in the back. Not ideal for us. We're going to go for the Wild Charge. Wild Charge grabs the final shield, but we had the close combat loaded, so we can throw it into the Luxray. One-shotting the Luxray, and can we get the Spark Farm down? No, we're barely not able to do so. The opponent makes it to a last-second Cross Poison, taking out the Pawmot, and we do unfortunately lose that game. But into the next game, and what a surprise, another Lantern. I mean, I probably could have ordered these battles slightly better so that there would be a bit more variety in the start, but I guess you know, whatever. We're going to go for the back-to-back wild charges once again. Might swap again like we did last time, and we are going to do so. This time the opponent doesn't swap immediately, but then they eventually swap, and it is yet again going to be a double rock backline. Sorry, these battles... Opponents are just so boring in this meta, I cannot lie. They're going to go for a Rock Blast there. We do live that quite comfortably. We can now go for a Grass Knot, and Grass Knot will be able to nearly take them out there, but they will get the Rock Throw farm down, which is good for them, not good for us, but let's see what we want to do. We come in, we get the Spark farm down with the Pawmot. And let's see, the opponent's going to come in with their Shadow Alolan Golem in the back, and I guess this is one of the good things since we're seeing this team in basically every battle. Pawmot does pretty well up against the Alolan Rock Boys here, so unfortunately we're not quite able to swap out in time there. The opponent can go for a Surf, grab our final shield, but it doesn't really matter. We come in with the Togedemaru, go for the Wild Charge straight away, taking out the Lantern. We will be able to make it to another Wild Charge in time. Instead, we choose not to throw. Doesn't really matter actually, because we can just go for the back-to-back close combats. First one grabs the shield, the second one will obviously be enough damage once again to easily one-shot the Alolan Golem, and we're able to take that game. Into the next game, finally a different lead other than Lantern. We're going to see a Galvantula, so we will stay in. The opponent probably just going to go for a lunge here, and this will debuff our attack, but it doesn't really matter. 2 wild charges should be enough damage to take them out anyways. So we're going to go for the first one as we reach the back-to-back, and that does quite a lot of damage. We're actually going to bait with a Fell Stinger here, and Fell Stinger is going to grab a shield from the opponent, so it does pay off. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have baited there, but now we will be able to make it to another wild charge before they get to the next charge move. They do go for cross poison there, so we could live a cross poison most likely there, but the opponent comes in with a Shadow Luxray, running Hidden Power Ground most likely. So we're going to have to shield up the Psychic Fangs here and hope that we can make it to back-to-back Grass Knots, because they are certainly going to use a shield in this matchup, and they do shield the Grass Knot. Can we make it in time? Yes, we are barely able to do so. I think we live with literally 1 HP and a Dream, take out the Luxray, and the opponent has a Lantern in the back. So we come in with the Pawmot here. They will be able to make it to a Surf. We should be able to live this. We don't really want to debuff ourselves as soon as possible, so we're going to try and overfarm here. We do barely make it to the Wild Charge in time, and Wild Charge does a lot of damage. We swap into our Togedemaru. We go for the Fell Stinger. It looks like a CMP type as well. Does this KO? Yes, it does, and we're able to take that game. So into the next game, we see a Alolan Graveler in the lead, so we are going to see the opponent safe swaps into a Shadow Luxray, and this is really bad for us, especially when both shields are still in play. They can just easily double shield in this matchup, fully farm us down, and probably just wipe out our entire team here. So we're going to go for a Grass Knot. Grass Knot should be grabbing a shield from the opponent, and here if we were running Discharge, we probably could have grabbed both shields there, but unfortunately this was another battle that was done a bit earlier on whilst we were running Thunderbolt. Here we can live this, so we're going to let these Psychic Fangs go through. Of course, now these hidden powers are absolutely going to chunk. They're already double super effective, but they're able to take us out in just 1 more hidden power. I think the only play is going for a full Spark farm down here and hoping they've got 2 Alolan Graveler and Golem in the back, but unfortunately it is a Lantern. We try to build to the back-to-back close combats, but unfortunately they do feint us just as we reach them, but I don't think close combat would quite take out the Lantern from that range anyways. But into the next game, another Lantern. This time they are running Spark though, so I guess it does beat other Lanterns, so that's not so bad. But here we're going to go for the Wild Charge, and Wild Charge is going to grab a shield from the opponent. Now we swap into our Minun, and the opponent is running Hisuian Electrode. Now this is a really bad matchup for the Minun. We can only throw resisted charge moves, but our fast move is at least neutral here, so we do already get them into the yellow health, which is quite nice. The opponent goes for the Energy Ball. That does a decent amount of damage, but they will have to throw another charge move to take us out, and Grass Knot does some nice damage there. We might shield this and farm them down, but no, we're going to let this go through. Wild Charge takes us out, and now we can probably come in with the Pawmot, go for the farm down, and we barely get that farm down as they reach another Wild Charge. Now they come in with a Shadow Galvantula. They resist all our charge moves here, but we are still going to do absolutely massive damage, even with a debuff as well. But instead, we swap into Togedemaru. I really like this play there, clearing the debuff, going for a Wild Charge. The opponent comes back in with the Lantern. We are going to let Togedemaru go down to the Surf, come back in with the Pawmot, go for a Wild Charge straight away, and remember, remember, this Lantern is running Spark, so we're not at risk of them farming us down with their fast move. We can safely shield up the Surf here, go for this full Spark farm down from this range, come out with 2 charge moves loaded. Doesn't matter what we throw, both are resisted, but both will be enough damage to take out the Shadow Galvantula, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we see a shiny Galvantula in the lead. The opponent safe swaps into their own Togedemaru. Now, we do kind of want to throw our charge move first, because when they swap in, they are 1 turn behind, but now they do get back in line with us, but it doesn't really matter. They bait with a Fell Stinger. That doesn't do much damage. Wild Charge will be dealing more damage now, though, but we go for the back-to-back Wild Charges, and we do grab a shield from the opponent. Also, a CMP tie, so that's pretty good for us. We are going to shield the Wild Charge, swap into our Pawmot, and we do resist everything, but they are boosted, so we might shield the Wild Charge, and we do shield it up, but we can just go for the full Spark farm down, and the opponent comes back in with the Galvantula. We should be able to live this. It is just a neutral cross poison. We do farm to the back-to-back Wild Charges once again, and we go for the first one. Wild Charge grabs a shield. The second one will do a lot of damage, but this is not a Shadow Galvantula, so it won't quite be enough damage to take them out, but we do get a simultaneous KO, and they've got Lantern in the back. This should be a good matchup for the Minun. All shields are down. We go straight for a Grass Knot, and Grass Knot is going to do about 60% of the Lantern's health. We will easily live a Surf from this range, and we can make it to a second Grass Knot before they do make it to the next Surf, but we settle for the Discharge instead, and Discharge will be enough damage to take out the Lantern anyways, and we're able to take that game. So into the next battle, we see Shadow Alolan Graveler in the lead. We're going to lead with our Togedemaru and probably just farm to the back-to-back Wild Charges once again, but the opponent banks a decent amount of energy there, and then they swap into Lantern, so we're going to go for the first Wild Charge and then swap into our Minun. And we're going to let the Surf go through. Surf, once again, not going to do too much damage. We should be able to overfarm quite a lot in this matchup and go for the Grass Knot just before we make it to the next charge move. And Grass Knot from this range takes out the Lantern. And let's see, the opponent going to come back in with their Graveler. We are going to let this move go through. Do we live a Rock Blast here? We don't quite live that, unfortunately, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to come in with the Pawmot, and we are resisting these rock throws. They're still dealing a decent amount of damage here, but so is Spark, to be fair, and we go for the back-to-back Wild Charges. It looks like we want a CMP tie as well. Wild Charge grabs the shield, and if you're wondering why we're going for Wild Charge, I actually don't know that. It is resisted. Obviously, from this range, it should take them out. But if the opponent then makes a catch onto a different Pokemon, close combat is typically going to be better just because basically every Pokemon in this meta, aside from Lantern, does resist the electric type damage. So, for example, if they caught onto Electrode, that would have been very bad. But we're going to go for a Fell Stinger. Fell Stinger is going to be super effective, but it's non-stab. It doesn't hit very hard at all. We do go for a second Fell Stinger throwing on the CMB tie, and Fell Stinger is going to get them into the yellow health, which is quite nice. We're actually going to shield here. The opponent did overfarm quite a lot, and they go for the Wild Charge. We then don't throw the next Fell Stinger. I'm not sure why. Fell Stinger, whilst it's double boosted, probably puts them into farm down range. Maybe not, though. They do make it to another Wild Charge already. Wild Charge takes out the Pawmot, and we do unfortunately lose that game. But into the next game, we see Hisuian Electrode in the lead this time around, and we've seen already, we do resist everything, although Fell Stinger, whilst it's super effective, not going to do much damage, and I do believe the opponent will be able to win the zero shield scenario, but it's probably likely that as we use more shields, it does turn out to be a better matchup for the Togedemaru, but it doesn't matter. The opponent swaps into Lantern. They take a boosted Wild Charge. We come in with the Pawmot, and we're going to go for a one shield full Spark farm down from this range. And can we get that farm down? Yes, we can. We come out with a lot of loaded energy. They come back in with the Electrode. We're going to go for a close combat. I think we're at the back-to-back. If not, we are just one Spark away, but the opponent lets that go through, and we can go for a second close combat into the Shadow Alolan Graveler in the back. This will definitely grab a shield from the opponent as they do get the rock throw farm down. We're now going to come in with the Togedemaru, and we will be able to make it to a Wild Charge before they get the full farm down. This should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent. No, they actually let that go through, and that is a really good play by the opponent there because they can live that. And can they make it to back-to-back charge moves up against the Minun? I think they need a Stone Edge to take us out. If this is just a Rock Blast, it will not deal enough damage. We're able to quick attack, farm them down, and we're able to take that game. Into the next game, we see Lantern in the lead. This time, they are running Water Gun once again, and they're going to go for a Surf pretty much straight away, so we will let the first move go through. Surf, not going to do too much damage there. They do get us fairly low with the Water Guns, though, so we're now going to go for the back-to-back Wild Charges. Oh, actually, no, once again, we're going to swap out, and the opponent comes in with their Graveler. It's probably the same team once again. Sorry, there's not a lot I can do about this. If I wanted to make a video with like 14 to 15 battles, you're probably going to see this trainer battling against the same team like 5 or 6 times. But they go for a Rock Blast there. We do live that, and we make it to the Grass Knot. So good call. And Grass Knot from this range will actually grab a shield from the opponent. Probably would have taken them out. Well, I definitely would have taken them out after landing a discharge there, but we come in with the Pawmot and we might go for a shield and then fully farm them down here. Spark is of course resisted. No, we actually let that first move go through. And I do believe we're going to shield this time around and then go for the full Spark farm down. That makes the most sense to me here, and we are able to get the full Spark farm down. We swap back into Toga Damaru. I really like this play as we can go for the Wild Charge, taking out the Lantern, and they do have a second Rock type in the back. We've got back-to-back close combats loaded. The first one will probably grab a shield. Nope, they just let it go through, and we're able to one-shot the Golem and take that game. Into the next game, we see Galvantula in the lead. They're running the Volt Switch, which isn't recommended for this cup, but it does probably do slightly better in this matchup where Fury Cutter is also resisted, but Volt Switch is just stab and does a lot more damage anyways. But here we go for the back-to-back Wild Charges. The first one goes unshielded, the second one probably will grab a shield from the opponent, and it does, and now we swap into our Minun. We're going to let this move go through, probably going to be a lunge here as they do debuff our attack, and they swap into a Raikou, so a very spicy pick from the opponent there. It is nice to see something very different in this meta because so far we've probably only seen a range of about 8 Pokemon from the opponent's team so far. They go for the Shadow Ball, taking out the Minun. So let's see what we want to do here. We are going to come in with the Pawmot and we are going to have to shield this up. Shadow Ball would do a lot of damage to the Pawmot, so we do shield that up. We might even try and make a catch here if we can't get the farm down, and we do swap out. We make the catch. I think we might have taken them out with that one extra spark there, but it doesn't really matter. We get the farm down. The opponent comes in with the Galvantula. We go for a Wild Charge here before they can go for a lunge, and this Wild Charge actually grabs a shield from the opponent. So interesting play by the opponent there, but they want to guarantee they get off the lunge, which probably is the right play. We make it to the, well, nearly back-to-back charge moves here, which is unfortunate because we're going to take a, well, we are now quad debuffed in our defense. We take a few more Water Gun damage. We go for the second Wild Charge, but we're so low that the opponent is able to Volt Switch, farm us down, and take that game. But into the next game, we see Hisuian Electrode in the lead, and once again, this is a matchup where probably if we play out the 1 or 2 shield scenario, it might be positive for us, but in the 0 shield scenario, it does look like 2 energy balls will be enough damage to take us out. And you can see Fell Stingers really not doing much damage here, even though they are super effective, but they will start to add up and will deal more damage each time we throw it. So here, this will get the Electrode fairly low, but they can afford to no shield once again. And we're probably not going to be able to Thundershock farm them down either, as it is double resisted. But the opponent swaps into their Shadow, Alolan Golem. We are now triple boosted. We go for the Wild Charge, and it's resisted damage, but it still one-shots the Golem. They've got Alolan Graveler in the back. We come in with the Minun, go for a Grass Knot. This should be grabbing a shield from the opponent. But no, they just let it go through. I am not sure what the opponent is saving their shields for, but it's just not going to work out for them, as we can come in with the Pawmot, go for the Spark, farm down. The opponent comes back in with Electrode, and even though it's resisted, double resisted actually, we're able to fully Spark, farm them down, and take that game. And into the next battle, we see a Shadow Alolan Graveler in the lead. So probably once again going to build up to the back-to-back Wild Charges, throw one, and then maybe swap into our Minun, because that looks like what we plan on doing in most of these battles. They go for a Rock Blast. We'll make it to the back-to-back Wild Charges. This first one will do about 60% of their health there. We actually bait with a Fell Stinger this time around. Interesting play, as the opponent does let it go through, unfortunately, and they will be able to make it to a charge move as well. So I definitely didn't think that the Fellstinger bait was worth it there, as they do get off a charge move. They get our Minun incredibly low already, but they do come in with a Lantern. So we're going to go for the Grass Knot. Grass Knot will be super effective, and we should be able to make it to a second Grass Knot before they farm us down, and we are able to do so. If they let us go through, this will put them into range where we can potentially just come in and Spark farm them down with the Pawmot here. We're probably going to have to double shield once again, but we've seen already we don't mind double shielding the Pawmot if we can get a massive Spark farm down, and it looks like that's exactly what we're going to do. So we double shield here, the opponent goes for another Surf, and they're staying in. They eventually swap into Hisuian Electrode. We make it to the back-to-back close combats. The first one from this range will grab the shield from the opponent. The second one will do a ton of damage, and it does connect there, but we're not able to get the farm down. So instead, we swap into Togedemaru, but the opponent overfarms too much. We're able to get off the Fellstinger, Thundershock, farm down the Lantern, and take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.